Hello, friends. Taste is the only morality, John Ruskin wrote. Show me what you like, and I'll show you who you are. Years ago, the common areas of my apartment building were being repainted, including the doors of each unit. When the painters came to my floor, we were told that we had to leave our doors open for a few hours until the paint dried. Well, being naturally curious, nosy, I decided to walk down the corridor and have a quick looky-loo into my neighbor's apartments. Now, I just quickly glanced in, but even that was enough to see they were almost all uniformly boring. Very few had actual art or books or personality. As I stepped into my living room with Chinese wallpaper and tall curtains, I thought to myself, these people have no taste. A snobbish thing to think, but also honest, insofar as it's true that lots of people really don't have any taste, or at least their taste is borrowed and conforming. Which is understandable, especially since those are powerful drivers. In order to fit in, we borrow the style, customs, and manners of the people whose approval we seek. Going against the grain is difficult. So what are we to say about the cynosure of our faith, a crucified man? We don't just like that image, we love it. And that must say something about us. Lots of folks think it says we're perverse, that we have a taste for cruelty, that we tell victims that suffering is redemptive. But it actually tells something quite different. It tells that we have a God who's neither interested in conformity nor in borrowing the coercive power of the gods of economics, politics, and media. A God who's about compassion, not coercion. A God who became what we are, so that we could become what He is. Something which only happens when we accept that we don't need to conform and don't need to live a borrowed life. Because we've been given a life to be lived joyously and unapologetically. Remember I mentioned tall curtains in my apartment? I eventually had them turned into trousers, and folks either appreciate or are put off by them. Which is why these sorts of wild patterned trousers are known as go-to-hell pants. As in, if you don't like them, you can go to... Well, people either appreciate or are put off by a God who not only goes to hell at Calvary, but also rebukes hell's power. With a passing glance, it seems so empty and ugly and tasteless. But to stop and stare is to taste and see how gracious the Lord is. Truly, the only morality that matters.